Welcome to Maker Camp. There's so much for you to see.
Today's show, we're going to be taking you on the first field trip of the summer. We're going to be meeting the Google Trex team, who are going to change the way that we see the world. Plus, a weekend project powered by Radio Shack. So let's get ready to make something great.
It's great to see so many of you here with us on the final day of Makers in Motion Week. I'm Camp Director Paloma.
And I'm Camp Director Sam. As always, we look forward to hearing your questions on the show, so please leave them in the comments bar so we can field them live.
And if you possibly want to participate with us live in the future, you can go to makercamp.com and fill out the form.
And before we take you away on today's field trip, we want to meet our counselors for today, Sandra and Brian. Hey counselors, are you guys excited?
Absolutely. Everyone knows about Street View and the cars that drive around your neighborhood taking pictures.
But also, Google has some amazing stuff that photographs underwater.
Yeah, you know, what they're doing with this technology is really incredible, and it's amazing where they can actually go with all of this technology.
Yeah, fun stuff. To find out how they do all that fun stuff, we're finally going to take you now to our man on the scene in sunny Mountain View, California, Burke. Camp Director, how's it going?
Hey, Sam, how's it going? Paloma, are you guys keeping cozy out there?
It is delightful up here. How's it going down there?
Oh, it is beautiful here at the Google campus, and I am so happy to show you guys what we're going to present. It's wonderful. I'm here with Jill and John. And John, what are you going to show us today?
Well, Jill's going to show you the Street View stuff that Google collects, but I'm actually going to show the campus how they can make their own Street View.
Oh, wow. So, yeah, not just Google anymore. That's right. You campers out there can do this too. Now, we're not going to see that right away. We have one thing that Jill's going to show us now. So, John, we'll be right back with you. But right now, Jill, what's up? How's it going?
It's going awesome, dude. Thanks for coming out here.
Yeah.
My name is Jill North. I'm the Associate Program Manager for Street View Special Collects in North America. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about our Street View technology.
Oh, wow.
So basically, what is Street View, right? Street View is basically connecting panoramic photos to actual places on the map. So instead of just using a map for things like directions or seeing where you might want to go to eat or something like that, you can actually see visually photos of what it's like to take that journey.
Wow. So that must take a tremendous amount of technology to make possible. Why don't you give us a rundown of what that's all about with Street View and everything?
Absolutely. You would not believe it. So for roads and streets, right, we use the Google Street View car. And the car is equipped with, basically like a camera that has 15 lenses. So we call it a camera, but it has 15 lenses. It has a mast that is extended up, and that way when you're taking the photos, it doesn't show the top of the car. It actually shows a lot of ground space. So anyway, the 15 lenses take photos simultaneously. Oh. So and then each one of these photos is stitched together to kind of create that experience.
Oh, wow. So one of the really neat things I want to know, and I think our campers would really like to know, is what's some of the process to get to such a polished and developed project? I mean, how many iterations did you guys have to go through, and what was part of that effort to make it happen?
Sure. So innovation takes time, right? So we've had several different types of cameras that we've created. We have lots of different changes we've made to the software itself. We actually have an in-house created computer that is what powers up the camera and tells it to take the photos. And then it also takes the information about where the photo is actually taken. So the Street View car camera has lasers on it also, which kind of identify how far things are from where the photo is taken on the road. So it's perfectly placed.
Wow.
Each individual panorama.
Each time.
Yeah.
That must have taken a tremendous amount of effort to get that to work right, and to get it done correctly. And I mean, one of the things that is important about, especially for you campers out there, is that a lot of times you see the full result, and you never see the process that gets there. You don't see the effort it takes to get to a polished, perfect product. And more importantly, that's the same thing that applies to your projects out there. You don't have to start with perfection. You build up to it. And that's right. And that's something that you have to spend a long time to do to make everything work just right.
We're even making changes as we speak. So right now, the Street View cars that you see, kind of, if you see it, it's going around your neighborhood. There will be changes down the road, I'm sure, to those to try to make the technology even better for better end user experience.
Do you know the total number of iterations you guys gone through, like revisions, or like is you lost count at that point?
I personally have lost count because we have some coming, right? So, but we have, a first generation camera where it was basically on top of a van. And it just kind of was a camera that sat literally on top of a van. And then we've had several generations since. So now we are at the 15 lenses that kind of we've identified as a good mix for the different angles to make those panoramic views.
Wow, that's great. How many? So you had to go through a ton of different lenses, different tech, try everything out.
Yeah.
That's really one of the big take-home messages. Even a fantastic organization with tons of people, you have to try, fail, try again, and perfect it over time. That's a really important thing for everyone to know out there when you do your projects. Nothing comes out perfect the first time around. Always have to try effort. Speaking of which, you're telling me that Street View is not just for cars.
No, it's not. And we've done a lot of trial and error with that. So we've had Street View trikes. That was what we had going into places like Yellowstone, things like that, where we can't actually fit a car. And then we have things like the trolley and a snowmobile. The trolley allows you to go indoors, places like the White House or Canada's Parliament or art museums.
Wow.
And then, snowmobile.
Great.
I know.
You just go in buildings and see everything like you're there.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
And then we have like the snowmobile will go down like your ski slopes and paths. So if you're wondering like, oh, is this place really cool to ski? You can go ahead and take a look on Street View and take a look of what it's like.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That is really cool. So now we have a little bit of technology here that is really exciting. How would you explain this to the campers out there? Because this is certainly the first time I've ever seen it. So.
Yeah. So our newest, latest, and greatest is our Street View Trekker. Basically, it's a backpack with the Street View camera on top of it. So that way you can walk literally anywhere in the world and collect the imagery via Street View. So it's pretty awesome.
Wow. So yeah, why don't you give us a breakdown of what of the components, what it's in. We actually have it here for you to see, and I think I'm going to have her assemble and put it on. Yeah, why don't we do this?
Yeah,
I'm sure you guys want to see it.
Okay, cool. So the crazy thing about the camera Trekker is that it's actually only 5 parts. This first part is your R7 camera. So this camera is exactly the same camera that's on top of the Street View cars, just in a condensed module, right? On the camera itself, you have what's called a dry tube. I don't know if you all you campers can see it, but basically the purpose of the dry tube, and this is similar with the Street View car, is that it keeps the condensation from getting on the lenses of the camera on the inside, right? So if you're
that's something I actually always wanted to know, because I was like, how, because a lot of like live cameras, they usually have a little scrolling bit for when dirt accumulates. Now I didn't know that this was the solution you guys saw. That was the first time. I was actually really excited to learn that.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it is dry tube, aka kitty litter, right? The second part is your T box. We call it a T box because it means Trekker box, right?
Box.
This is like basically an in-house created computer that's what gives the signals to the camera to take the photos, or it writes the information onto the disk. So lay that out like this. All right. Now you'll notice there's 3 bolts here on the camera, and then there's 3 of these bolt holders. So we're going to go ahead and connect those in a minute. Yeah. But the other part, the other 3 parts, right? We need to connect something to the T-box itself, to the R7 camera, because we can physically attach it, but we actually need to attach it so that it's able to send and receive messages. Once we've attached all of those things, we need to plug in the cord to a phone that has a Trekker app on it. We can turn this on, and then it won't do anything though, because like computers that's what you do. So it needs something to tell it what to actually do. So that's what the T-box or the
interface for this whole device is on that phone.
Yes. Yeah. So that's what tells it to go.
Yeah.
we'll go through that. All right, so if you want,
Yeah.
the first thing we need to do is attach these three, right?
All right.
Okay,
Just
so
kinda,
yeah, you go right on ahead.
here, if you want to just hold that up while I get this in there.
Yeah.
Put the first one in. See, campers, it's important to, when you come to Google, be a very hands-on experience. We're not going to just show you. Get this last bolt in. Is it aligning correct? Oh,
There you go.
I think it's locking in. Now, why don't you, while I'm putting this together, give me some rundown of some of the iterations, because I really see that as one of the strong themes of development here is not just showing the end result, but like the trials and errors, what it takes to figure out a difficult problem. Yeah.
Totally. So like, it seems really simple. You have a tracker, it takes pictures, right? But you have to have the GPS antenna so that you can properly place basically where you are on Earth. And then there's things like rain. What do you do if it starts raining outside, right? What do you do if you know, you're on a boat and all of a sudden the tracker falls into water? Well, we made it basically waterproof so that should that happen, it's not going to ruin the technology. But the nice thing was since the Street View car was pretty much developed to a place where, you know, is getting good data, it was easy to just kind of duplicate that camera piece to it. So it was more of a matter of perfecting the software. And the software is constantly being updated. So this tracker right now is actually out of date.
Really?
Yeah.
Was it in date this morning and just, you know, it's already advanced that much?
No, this is the one I picked. This is the one I picked. Now we've actually updated it. So instead of having this fourth piece of the cord, it's actually Bluetooth.
Oh,
yeah.
That's actually nice, because then it kind of keeps it out of the way and nice and clean and whatnot. Campers, one of the things that you won't be able to see here is the weight distribution here. We have some lithium-ion batteries that go right down here, and we also have the cameras. And you would think the batteries weigh more, but it's actually the cameras here, because we have a large cluster. Why don't you explain how much this weighs, and also just it's 15 cameras total, and they're
15
all like,
cameras. Oh yeah. Yeah. So basically, this part is 2/3 of the weight. The entire weight of the tracker itself is about 40 pounds. It's exactly 18 kilograms. But the batteries do help to balance it out just a little bit. So I'm going to open up. This is called the bay. To go ahead and insert the batteries, because without batteries it wouldn't power on, right?
Yeah, that sounds pretty essential to me.
And then, even still with that, if we had it on, we could turn it on right now, but if we were taking photos, we would have nowhere to store them on. So
yes.
We need to put them an SSD, which is a solid-state drive, into the tracker.
Now, the other thing I was incredibly fascinated to learn was how much data is being pumped through here. The size of that drive is
480 gigs.
And that lasts for how long?
12 hours.
12 hours. That much data being pumped through. That's incredible.
Yeah.
That is a tremendous amount of information that you're getting together.
Right, right.
Yeah. So now we got it assembled here. I think it's time for me to put it on.
You're going to put it on.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would like to wear it. I would like to give a first-hand account of how this feels.
All right. Are you ready?
I am ready. I am absolutely as ready as I can be. All right, let's get this on.
Awesome.
Oh, actually, that's not bad.
You're ready.
Yeah.
You look good.
Now, what's interesting is that I definitely feel the weight above me. I kind of feel it like have a slight, like it kind of guides as I walk, but it's actually kind of balanced.
One of the things that went into this, developing it, right, is to have it perfectly placed above your head. So this distance here is actually not just because, it's to keep your head out of the photos so that you get the most amount of ground
because then you
cover.
want to get as much ground clearance.
But with this, we've mapped, to the top of Mount Fuji, down to the bottom of the Grand Canyon, and on the Colorado River. So you can go literally anywhere with this.
Wow, that's absolutely fantastic. That's really cool. I mean, like this is neat to have like that kind of 360 view in incredibly small areas, in places that you can't take a vehicle, and now you could do it on foot,
Right.
which I can't wait. Well, what are some of the ideas that you guys are having to travel? Like, what spots would you want to get a 360 view from?
Well, anything that people would want to see online, right? Because it's all about our end users and providing them with the best service and what they want to see. So maybe, you know, campers, you might want to see colleges or universities. We have hundreds of colleges and universities that are street viewed online for you to take a look at on Google Maps. And all you have to do is basically pull Pegman over, see where the blue overlay is, and drop him, and you can see places all across the country and in other countries. We're actually in over 50 countries.
Wow.
Yep.
Are you guys going to get a tour of the Grand Canyon with this? I'd like to have one of those like descent tours or something.
We already do.
You do?
Yes.
Well, that's even better.
We're going everywhere.
See, I don't even need to come up with ideas. They're already on it. They're all over it.
Right.
All right. So, I'm trying to think of what else I could possibly think of about this, because it's just so neat to have. Like, I've never seen this before. I was just shown this a few minutes ago, and it's on my back right now. I'm pretty excited to have, like, basically an advancing prototype that is being developed here. And that kind of technology that is being worked on to bring something that used to, you know, take an entire car and work it down.
Yeah, totally.
Awesome. Well, one of the other great things we have coming up next is we have a video that we'd like to put up showing not just Street View stuff, but kind of a Hello World video displaying all the things that Google have been able to collect together and show for you. So we're gonna play that right now.
You go for it.
Yeah.
What do you say we buckle up and go for a little ride? We'll go to Cairo, Shiloh, Moscow, Chichen Itza, Krakatoa, Shenandoah, Mauna Loa, Tara, Pisa, Warsaw, Aqaba, Shangri-La, Transylvania, Nome, Rome, Stockholm, Lyon, Mauritania, Khartoum, Rangoon, Cancun, Saskatoon, Kowloon, Cameroon, Brigadoon, to the moon. Let's go everywhere, man. Lots of fun out there, man. Get out of your chair, man. Let's go everywhere. Everywhere, everywhere. Everywhere, everywhere. Everywhere, everywhere.
All right, welcome back, everyone. And now I am here with my next guest, John, who is going to show us what you can do now with basically having a Google Maps on hand and actually being able to do this yourself on your own with places you've been to or where your friends have been to. So, John, thanks for coming here. Thanks for inviting me. This is fantastic. It's wonderful.
Have you guys here.
Yeah.
So, hey everyone. My name's John. I'm actually a Noogler. I only started at Google a couple of months ago, and I'm a member of the Google Earth Outreach team. And my specific role is I'm program manager for geoeducation. So, you know, you say, thanks for coming. Well, this is what I do. This is my daily job, is showing people like you around, showing teachers, students how to do this sort of thing. So what we'd like to do today, or I'd like to do today, is actually show you how you as individuals can get your own images into Street View without the needs of the fancy cameras. You know, and of course, how would you do this? Well, everyone these days has their smartphone, right?
Right, the computer in the pocket.
Yep. So one of the neat things on the Android camera is actually a built-in option to create what we call a photosphere.
Oh.
And by photosphere, I mean these 360 immersive experiences. Think of it as being in a giant plastic bubble in which the imagery around is all sort of being pasted on. So the way you would capture this, I don't know if the camera can pick this up maybe, there's an option here to go to the photosphere, the little icon, and when that comes up, there's a dot will appear, and we align that dot, wait a few seconds, and then we move, and we keep moving round and round. And obviously the trick here is to stay in one place and create the whole 360 experience.
Right, yeah.
And that will give us our photosphere.
Yeah, because it stitches all the images together and creates one panoramic view.
Exactly. Now, Obviously, one of the problems with that is if you're trying to capture animals or people, they have a tendency to move.
Yes.
So when you're dealing with moving targets, you need something that's going to get it in one snapshot. And fortunately, there are devices out there that will do that. For example, this thing here is a double fisheye lens camera. So literally, we can create a photosphere here by pressing this button. And one click will stitch the two halves together into the full sphere experience.
So now you don't have to worry about motion blur or,
or
two images out of the way.
heads or that sort of thing, which can be fun, but maybe not the desired effect. So,
no, yeah, that's actually really fantastic, and nice and compact too. So you could pretty much bring it with you anywhere, have it with your friends and everything. Now, one of the big benefits of this is the idea that campers out there can go and share their experiences with their friends who might not be able to head out to the same places, or people from really far away can see exotic places that they've never been to and use them in your classroom, with your friends online, and add to the educational experience.
Absolutely, and in fact what we're going to show in a second is how you upload these into the Google Cloud and make them accessible to everybody.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we'd like to do that now.
Yeah, let's check that out. That would be great.
Okay, so let's start out by showing you Google Maps. Here we are, standard Google Maps page, and let's search for something Eiffel Tower, somewhere everybody knows, where we have car-based street view. We also have trekker-based street view that they've taken up the Eiffel Tower. And if we go down to the bottom right and we drag Pegman, those are the blue lines that appear. But also appearing here are these blue dots. Now, these blue dots represent these homemade photospheres that people have collected. So, for example, here, someone took a great photosphere of the Eiffel Tower at night. So where did this come from? Well, these were uploaded to a page called Google Views. It's maps.google.com/views. If you have a Google account, if you go there, then you'll have your own personal views page. But you can just go to the page and you can just peruse the various images people have put up. There's some great ones there right now of Angkor Wat in Cambodia.
Yeah, I could see this working out great in a classroom. Be able to add images that have a nice panoramic shot of something while going over anything really.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
world history,
right,
geology.
Architecture. Here we're at the Taj Mahal. I mean, very hard for everyone to take a class to the Taj Mahal.
Right.
But, so these views have been uploaded by users, and this is the key thing here. This is people at home making these images and putting them into the cloud for the world to see. And the way they did this is they captured them on their phone or on those special devices, downloaded them to their laptop, and then they uploaded them to their Google Plus page. So I'm just going to demonstrate this using my Plus page. Here we are on my Plus page. We can, on the left here, go to Photos. Brings me into my albums. And actually, I've got an album here where I have a few photospheres prepped already. So I'll take us in here. And I actually have one right here of the Google campus. Now, you may notice the funny shape to it.
Right.
Yeah, it looks all distorted. That's because
fisheye lens, right there.
Exactly. Yeah. When you take a sphere and you flatten it out, it's the classic how do you make a map of the world problem that's flat when the world is round. Similar sort of principle. Okay, so we have our image. It's up on Plus. We then go back to our views page, and in the top right here, our name, if we're logged in to our Google account, our name will be there, and that will take us to our particular account. And you may see that I have some examples in here. For example, I was lucky enough to be in Brazil a couple of weeks ago and caught a couple of games. And so this is a demonstration of what we were talking about when you have people or things that move in the frame that you want a one snapshot so they're not moving around. So here we saw a view of the crowds at the England-Italy game in Brazil. Unfortunately, this was a game that my team didn't do so well in, but anyway, still a fun experience. Okay, so to go back to our account, I'm going to go up to the camera button here and add one of these images. And so I'm going to choose that album where I have that photosphere. I'm going to select it. And the important thing here is I need to geotag this. So I need to add a location. Now, had it been auto geotagged, you know, had I created that image with my GPS on, I wouldn't need to do this. But this is easy enough to do. I can search for Mountain View and find the Google campus because I know that I took this right in the middle of the Googleplex. And I'm going to drop a pin where that image was taken, which was near Building 41, I think. And I'm going to save that. I'm just going to add a title. Yep.
Now, John, this process looks really easy for pretty much anyone to do. What are some of the other applications do you think that campers out there would have the most fun with? Like, which ones do you think that they could engage with the most, or have, you know, maybe share with their friends or whatnot?
Well, yeah. So what we've done here is just share a single photosphere. But what we can actually do, and that one I've just uploaded it. It will appear in a few minutes. But if we have a series of them, we can actually go up to the top here and select the images and actually create what we call a constellation, which is where we stitch the images together into that Street View type experience. So you control how you navigate from one image to another, those arrows that you click to move around in Street View. You control the orientation of the image and its exact location, of course. And that's what I'm doing right now. I'm tweaking the geolocation, changing the orientation, making or breaking links. And then if I was to hit publish, which I'm not going to do on that one, I'm instead going to show you one I had made already, you get this fully immersive Street View experience whereby I can jump between my different photospheres. So it's a great way of kind of showing someone around your neighborhood or maybe telling a story of an experience that you've had.
We have to bring the field trip to a close, but be sure to stay on for the weekend project powered by Radio Shack. We're going to be showing everybody how to build a Sunbeam Seeker Bot. It's a tiny little robot built without a microcontroller, looks for the nearest light source you can find, and even has a built-in switch to deactivate it when it falls over. So
Great.
Stay tuned for that.
And you know what? We've had so much fun on Makers in Motion Week. I can't imagine a better way to start this amazing project off. But next week, we're going to have Art and Design Week with Wearables Director at Adafruit and Make contributor Becky Stern. We love her around here. And we're going to be having Erica Domasek of PS I Made This. So we've got some great stuff next week. I'm so excited for it. I can't wait. And if you were inspired by anything you saw today, which I can't imagine you not being inspired, please remember to try this at home. Goodbye, campers.
Take care.
Hi, I'm Sean Reagan. I'm technical editor with Make. Today, I want to show you how to build a light-seeking beam robot that uses just a handful of simple components to produce a surprisingly complex behavior. This little robot uses a simple power amplifier chip and 2 light-detecting eyes to follow the brightest light it can find. It's a great example of beam robotics, which is inspired by biology. Rather than relying on complicated microprocessors, programming, and digital logic, beam robots favor simple components, responsive control systems, and analog logic. So what does that mean? Basically, beam robotics is about getting the most complex and interesting behaviors you can using the simplest possible components. It can be pretty challenging, but it can also be lots of fun. You'll need an afternoon, some soldering skills, and the following parts to complete this build. You can head over to your local Radio Shack, where you can pick up all the electronic components you'll need. You'll also need the following tools. Before we get started with the build, let's go over how the circuit works. At the core of our circuit is the LM386 power amplifier chip. We can think of the chip as a black box, with inputs and outputs that respond in predictable ways. It's able to compare the voltage levels coming in from the 2 light sensors on pins 2 and 3 and trigger the motors to turn toward the brightest source. The key is pin 5. When one eye sees light, pin 5 acts as a current sink, and only motor number 1 is powered. The other eye sees more light, pin 5 acts as a current source, and only motor 2 is powered. We'll start by building the power system, which consists of 2 battery holders and 2 switches wired in series, a master power switch, and a tail dragger roller switch that cuts the power when the robot is not resting upright. Remove the threaded ears from the ends of the slide switch by bending them back and forth with pliers until the metal fatigues and breaks. Next, clean the back of one of the battery packs and the sides of both switches with rubbing alcohol. Use double-sided foam tape to secure the switches to the battery pack. Center the roller switch along the bottom edge and put the slide switch in the upper right. Cut, strip, and solder the red battery pack lead to connect the 2 switches in series. Use the leftover wire to make 2 leads attached to the master switch's remaining terminal. Then, cut the red lead off the other battery pack at the point where it connects to the terminal inside the battery holder. Now we can finish up building the body of our robot. Apply additional foam tape to the exposed sides of the 2 switches. Route the wires so that one red lead goes out the side and one goes out the top. Then thread the black wire into the second battery holder. Then attach the battery holders back to back with the switches sandwiched between them. Clean the front side of the body with rubbing alcohol. Then cut and apply a piece of super lock fastener tape to fit it. Cut, strip, and solder the black lead to the battery clip terminal where you just removed the red lead earlier. This connects the 2 battery holders in series. Now our bot needs some legs, or rather, some motors. On each motor, clean the side that has no vents, then apply 2 small strips of super lock fastener tape. Use a sharp hobby knife to cut 2 fresh pencil erasers off right at the ferrule. Stab one eraser onto each motor shaft to serve as the wheel. Attach the motors to the front of the body using the super lock tape. Attach the front red lead to the outboard terminal on the starboard or right motor. Attach the black lead to the inboard terminal on the port or left motor. Attach a second black lead, made from leftover battery holder wire, to this same terminal. Finally, attach a lead to each of the 2 remaining motor terminals. These will both connect to pin 5 of the integrated circuit. Next, we'll build the bot's head, which will hold its eyes and brain. We'll start with the eyes. Cover the leads of both IR detectors with heat shrink tubing except for the very ends. The leads function as maneuverable eye stalks, and the insulation keeps them from shorting if they get bent or twisted together. Next, solder the brain, or LM386 integrated circuit, resistor, LED, and a black jumper wire to the PCB as described in the schematic. The last step is to run the loose wires from the motors into the body, then back up out the top. Cut, strip, and solder the remaining 4 wires to the PCB. Power, red, black, ground, and the 2 shared motor leads, green, should be attached as shown on the project schematic. Apply double-sided foam tape to the bottom of the PCB and attach it to the top of your bot. Now install the 4 AAA batteries. Find a sunbeam on a smooth floor, flip the slide switch forward, and set your completed bot down on it. If everything is working right, the robot will come alive when the roller switch presses down and will speed off happily in search of the brightest light in the room. It's easy to adjust the angle of the motors on the front of the body, which will affect the speed and power of the robot's drive system. A steeper, more vertical angle will drive slower but stronger, while a shallower, more horizontal angle will be faster but weaker. You can also adjust the bot's stance by bending the roller switch. The IR detector eyes can be adjusted left, right, up, and or down to bias the bot's steering in one direction or the other. A bot that prefers turning one direction or the other can often be corrected just by adjusting the eye stalks to compensate. What about adding or using other components in your bot's circuit? Reach into your junk box and pull something out at random. How can you hack it to add interesting behaviors to your own Beam robot designs? As always, we'd love to hear about your creations in the comments section of the project page.